More members of Alex Murdaugh's family are taking the stand today in his double murder trial. His son, Buster Murdaugh, testified yesterday describing the family dynamic and his father's reaction after his mother and brother were killed. The jury also saw a 3D reconstruction of the crime scene as a forensic engineer testified Murdaugh is too tall to have fired those shots. ABC News contributor and host at the Law and Crime Network, Brian Buckmeyer, joins me live now for more on this. Brian, Murdaugh's son, Buster, took the stand, talking about how close the family was, that they spoke on the phone numerous times a day, and he talked about how distraught his father was after his mother and brother were killed. How important do you think this testimony was for the defense?
Diane, I think it's very important because this is the testimony that's contradicting the prosecution's testimony from the officers who observed him, saying, well, he did seem distraught, but maybe there are seeds of guilt or seeds of he may have known this was happening because he is the actual killer. Here you have his eldest son, so far the closest person to him and his nuclear family, because everyone else has been murdered, telling exactly how his father reacted. And I think this is something the jury can really take credence in understanding who Alex Murdaugh is and was after these deaths.
Now, Brian, the defense didn't ask Buster whether he thought it was his dad's voice in that Snapchat video that was made at the kennels before the killings. But they did ask him to weigh in on the disputed audio from his dad's interview with police. What did you make of that?
I think, Diane, this is a situation of you get the witnesses that you get. I suspect that they asked Buster both of these lines of questioning. They probably played the audio and say, what did you hear? And he said, I heard they. I know my father's voice. I know the way he enunciates. That's they. He probably asked him a question about the kennel as well, and he probably told the defense attorneys, that's my father's voice. So rather than having the ninth person come up and testify and confirm that's his voice, they probably just avoid it altogether.
Now, Brian, another juror felt sick, so we're now down to just 2 alternates. What kind of a risk could this pose to the trial?
It's a big risk. If you lose 1 more, you're okay. 2 more, you're kind of worried. But if you lose 3, that means one of those 12 people who are going to be hearing the jury, that's a mistrial. You need a full jury to hear and decide whether or not you're going to come up with a guilty verdict or not guilty verdict or somewhere in between. So if we start losing more jurors, especially 3 or more, that's a very, very strong potential for a mistrial.
More members of the Murdaugh family are expected to testify today. What are you looking out for there?
I'm looking for their description of Alec after the death and as well as beforehand. These are the people that I think the defense is going to try to hang their hat on and say they know who Alex Murdaugh is. They know how he would respond in times of stress, more so than police officers and the prosecution's assumptions of his response. Because as Mark Ball, one of the attorneys who's already testified for the defense this morning, said, I don't know how someone would respond at the death of their wife and youngest child, but I can tell you I know Alec, and this is how he responded. I think that gives more credibility to his reaction than that of officers.
So, Brian, what are you watching for as this case moves on and as we learn more and more about the defense's attempts at raising reasonable doubt here?
Looking at a number of things. I'm looking at how they're going to work with this timeline. I'm also looking to see if Alex Murdaugh is going to testify. We've already heard the defense put forward, if he does testify, what can the prosecution go into and what can they not? That is a clear indication that they are heavily thinking he's going to testify. I would bet that he would. And if he does testify, the direct, I think, is going to be phenomenal. We already heard he's great with people. He's going to charm the jury. What I'm looking for is that cross-examination. Can the prosecution trip him up? We're not going to probably get that big movie time, did you do it? And he's going to break down crying and say, I did. But how are they going to kill him, so to speak, in this death by 1,000 paper cuts through a cross-examination?
All right, Brian Buckmeyer, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.